Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now. Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Carol, and I'm here with Greta and our co-host Kathleen, as well as the Realm of Beings. Happy to be here on Transformation Network every Friday morning at 11 Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time. Listeners, thank you for joining this experience with us. These conversations will help you to look at your life and your creation of reality, see what you're creating and how it affects your life and shows up, and how you can shift what you create to be what you want to create. So welcome all. Every week we discuss a quote that Greta has been given by the Realm of Beings, and then we, halfway through the show, have the realm join us. Before I share the quote, I'd like to just remind our listeners one more time that both Greta and Kathleen with the Realm of Beings will be at the New Life Expo this coming weekend, March 16th and 17th at the DoubleTree Hilton in Deerfield Beach, Florida. Deerfield Beach is a couple of minutes north of Fort Lauderdale, literally a minute south of Boca Raton. If you have a chance, please go ahead and see them. You will be very happy with it. The lines go around the whole venue whenever they're there. You can get your tickets by going on to the realmofbeings.com website or the New Expo website. And again, that's March 16th, 17th this weekend. Deerfield Beach, Hilton, DoubleTree, Hilton owns the DoubleTree, and booth is 403. All right, this week, the quote we are going to discuss is, "It is important to learn to trust yourself. If this is a challenge, then you are probably operating from a stance of fear. Consequently, you can attract exactly the thing that you fear to yourself." Who would like to begin, ladies?
Why don't you, Carol?
Oh, sure, of course. I've had trust issues my whole life. So, you know those little workshops they do at the corporate retreats where you're supposed to fall back and someone's supposed to catch you? I would never participate in that. I never trusted anyone to catch me. And that certainly showed me how fearful I was of so many things in my life. I think I'm getting better. I'm certainly getting better trusting my gut instinct, which is probably the most important factor. Still not sure I trust what most people say. What's the old adage? Trust half of what you see and nothing of what you hear. And as we've learned, even on this podcast, sometimes you can't really trust what you see either. The five senses that humans have can trick our brain. And sometimes what you see is really not what you see. Plus, it's all illusion anyway that you're creating. So, again, the topic comes down to the base core of fear. If you don't trust yourself, you're going to attract what you fear.
Absolutely. And I'm I love that explanation that you gave, Carol, to start us
Yeah.
on this, because I've had some trust issues myself, and I've also played those games. You know, I remember playing a game where we had to close our eyes, and you had a partner, and the partner had to walk you around the building, up and even up and
Oh,
down some stairs. And I'm going, oh, I
yeah.
had to really, really work with myself to really trust that person, because sometimes we pick that non-trust up from our parents,
Hmm.
or from where our familial framework, and we can even pick it up from friends,
Oh, for
friends
sure.
who are very scary, because there's a part in our life as we're growing up as children, we're very familial oriented. In other words, we're listening to our parents, we're following them, we know that they're the big people and we're the little people, so they must know what's happening. They've been in this life longer than we have, so we buy into that. Then we progress, and then uh young adults, or not even adults, preteens and
The
teens.
teenage years,
Right. And then we go
when we rebel.
sometimes, yep, absolutely. We rebel. And sometimes we get into a position where they tell us the sky is blue, we say no, it's purple. Just for the rebellious part. But the thing
True.
is, though, we've learned already not to trust people. And sometimes we've learned not to even trust our parents,
Hmm.
you know. And so then what do? We carry, as usual, we carry all of that into our new experience as being preteens and teens. And then we carry it some more. We carry it into being young adults, and then elders. Sometimes we can get to elderhood and still not trust anybody, or still
What,
not.
what about trusting ourselves? How do we learn to trust ourselves?
You have to practice that. It's not going to just come and pop up and say, "Yippee! I trust myself at this moment." You've got to really practice. I practice trusting myself, and when I make a decision, and then what happens with me, sometimes I'll look around and I'll say, why did I create that? You know what I mean? But I make sure that I tell myself it's okay. See, that's an important word. It's okay that I, quote unquote, made a mistake, because there are no mistakes.
Right.
Everything has purpose. There are no mistakes made. So I've said, well, I created that, and it's
But you
okay.
can change it.
It's okay, right? Because I'm going to change it. But
It
it's
calls to
okay.
mind um, one of the most famous songs in the world by Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven. And there is a line that says, it's okay what road you choose. It's never too late to choose the road you're on. And it's the truth. As we go through life, whatever path we think we've taken, if we're not comfortable on that path anymore, we have the ability to change it.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
but
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry. No,
Kathleen. No,
I
no.
I was no, I was just listening because I needed to listen, because trust is some kind, like you've already stated. It's a feeling. It's emotional. It's a very powerful one. And when I think about what it means to trust someone, you're really making yourself vulnerable if that's what you believe. But when you trust someone, and vulnerability does equal fear. The fear is definitely involved in that, and then that amygdala kicks in, and then you just start all of um, all that stuff is held in your brain, and you don't know how to release it. And I come from a family, I'll be very honest with you, that are very fearful, quite a few of them. And I have relatives that trust absolutely no one. They don't even trust going outside of their house.
Mm.
So I was born into that. But there, and I chose my family, and I chose to experience this. And a lot of times when we think of trusting, we only think of who we're going to trust outside of ourselves, not inside of ourselves. So learning to trust yourself is something that I'm surprised I don't really haven't mastered. I would have thought that's the first thing I would have mastered. But I mean, when all of every slogan or everything, even in the Bible, it says trust in God, but God is always seen outside of yourself. Uh, in God we trust, all others must pay cash. It's never trusting within yourself. So I guess my question is, who should we trust more? Somebody outside of ourselves or someone or ourselves? Because if I can't trust myself, I can't trust anybody else. But
Absolutely.
when you have what happens when to literally trust, you open yourself up with the reality. I guess your creation of reality. If you create to be hurt by someone that you trust, it's all kind of jumbled up in there for me. I'll be very honest with you. This whole thing about trusting myself and others.
See that I think that's where, and this is what I have been working on because believe me, Kathy, I'm totally there with you. Um, I sit back every time I have something happen that I'm saying, why is it happening? And I reword it to, why am I creating it? And it comes back to that and understanding that nobody can do anything to me. Nobody can hurt me. Only I am hurting me, and I'm attracting support for that hurt. It always comes back to create, support, create. I love saying those words
Also, it comes
because
back,
they're
Carol, to
just so pure.
right, but it also comes back to if you trust someone and they hurt you, it's because you're really hurting yourself because you don't love yourself unconditionally
And you don't trust yourself,
and
right?
you don't trust yourself. But at the same time, I thought about it. I said, who did I ever trust? I trusted my husband. I trusted for most part my parents, but I did have one little incident where it just shattered my whole um trusting thing with them. But I chose to learn my lesson to listen to my parents by having that. Because if my parents said, I'm gonna, you're gonna get a beat tonight, you're gonna spank you, you've got to spank it. You may have had to wait till after dinner or after the bath, but it was coming.
Mhm.
And you knew it was coming. And so if my father said or my mother or just a parent said, if you do this, this is gonna happen. And you don't think that's what's gonna happen, and it does, you go, but they're not gonna do that. Once the trust is shattered, like with the Catholic priest, like with the teacher, with a spouse, with anyone, how do you get that trust back? And if it
The
happens to
times
you,
were different too then, Kathy. I mean, we grew up in a very different atmosphere than what is happening in today's society. And even in the metaphysical realm, I know I never heard of creation or reality.
either.
I never heard about like look inside that you're creating everything. So things were different for us back then. And I can remember as a teenager, my rebellious stage, where my mother would give that class, and when I would say, why can't I do something? Because I said so. And then there were the times she would explain it. Okay, you can't go here because blah, 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 blah can happen. And I was like, "Ugh, she's an old lady. What does she know?" Well, by the time I hit 21, it hit me like a
How
bolt of
smart your mother
lightning.
was.
Oh my God, she does know. Like,
You're
why
like
am
a
I not
genius.
listening to
You're
this
like a
woman? She
genius.
knows. And then I would ask her, Ma, what should I do about this? And she'd say, why are you asking me? And I said, because you're always right. So I guess I did trust her in the end. And I realized much later that she knew a lot more of the bad stuff I was doing than she let on that she
Then she
knew,
let on.
but she let me do it, and that was something I was very grateful to my mother. My mother would allow me to do something that she knew would make me feel hurt, but she knew that that was the only way I would learn my lesson, and she would step back and let me learn my lesson.
Mhm.
So for that, I'm very grateful to her. I
Yeah,
don't
I
think a
think,
lot of people have had that similar
Mhm.
circumstance.
that shows that she loved you unconditionally,
Yes, yes.
right? Because she could accept you to be uh, who, who you are. I know for myself, when the two of you brought up about, I think maybe it was Kathy with her family. I know in my own family, I trusted my godfather. He was someone that, I grew up with him. My mother showed me trust in him and my godmother. And so who's the person that shows up to sexually abuse me? But my godfather. The very person that I trusted reached out to me in that manner. Now, I was afraid to tell my mother. So after 3 or 4 encounters with him, I eventually told her that. But then my feeling after I told her, her recall, or not recall, but her response to me was, well, don't go around him. Don't be
As if it were your fault.
Yeah, don't go around. Well, she didn't say it was my fault. She never told me that. But what it was, here is this man that's hurting me, and I know hurting me sexually, and my mother's just telling me, um, don't don't be around him by yourself. And I'm saying, that's all?
I know that's right. My father
You're
would have yanked
expecting
him
your
up.
parents to protect you.
Right.
Exactly.
So then how far could I trust my mother?
Mm.
Because here's this man hurting me. I'm telling you, he's hurting me. And the only thing that you can tell me is that I should avoid him. Now, how am I going to do that? When
Why
we're
did you
all in the
that?
same family and interacting in activities with each other. Just don't stay around him. So I found myself running. He'd come into a room, I'd go somewhere else. And it was really, really challenging for me. And then I remember one incident where his wife started to pontificate on how faithful he was.
Ugh.
And I'm standing there going, what? And she's telling, well, he's such a faithful husband. I know he's not playing around with other women. And I'm saying to myself, yeah, I know he's not playing around with other women because he's playing around with me.
And I'm just a little girl.
Right. Right. I think I was about 13 then. He waited until I was 13. And my mother, after that whole encounter was over, my mother turns to me and says, I'm so proud of you. And I'm going, okay. My mind is turning. Why are you so proud of me? She said, because you didn't say anything. When his wife said that he was faithful, I didn't say anything to her about his unfaithfulness. I kept my mouth shut. So my mother
Greta,
thanked me for that.
did
But wait
you
a minute, Carol, you know what that did? That
made you
taught
more
me,
fearful?
don't speak up.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're going
But
to get hurt, don't speak
why
up.
did you not, like, what were you feeling that made you not speak up at that time? Did you feel guilt or shame or
No,
not want to hurt her?
no, I didn't. Well, I felt really, I didn't want to hurt her because she was so into the fact that he was so faithful. So, yeah, right. But number two was that I knew my mother would kill me.
Oh, gosh.
There was
If
fear.
I told his wife about the experience that I was having with her husband, my mother, because my mother already showed me. She already showed me by saying, you just stay out of his way. That was the solution.
But now, didn't you? But you created all of that. So
Absolutely.
how does the creation of reality? So you created for your mother to respond the way she did. You created for the guy your godfather uh, to do that.
You want me to tell you how? It
Yeah.
goes back to when and I might have told the story on the podcast again, but it goes back to when I was maybe around 1 years old. It goes back to that point. I remember that. And I remember that Nanny and Aunt Mary and their mother, these were, my great aunts, were they had stripped me naked. I was laying back on the bed, and I heard them talking about, Greta has not made a bowel movement, And I remember thinking in my mind, as a 1-year-old, thinking, I don't want to. And you can't make me. I remember all of this very well. And then they're standing over to me, and they look like big giants. I mean, here I am, a 1-year-old little kid, naked, and these 3 tall women, and technically they were short, but to me they were tall, overlooking my body, trying to make a decision that I did not want. So then they decide, we'll sit her on her potty. That's why I know I was about 1. I don't even think I was going on 2. They set me on my potty. I sat there. They might have left me there 15 minutes. And then they'd look in the potty. Well, she didn't do anything. Well, no, I didn't do anything because I didn't want to do anything. Okay? So then they lay me back down, and I hear them saying, Pauline is coming. Pauline was the one registered nurse who lived on our block. So they said, we're going to wait till Pauline comes home from work, and then she's going to take care of Greta. And I remember laying there saying, I am not making a bowel movement. I don't care what you do. Okay, so later on, here comes Pauline, comes upstairs. And they said, okay, we're going to give Greta an enema. Now, this is very important because this is the point that sets up me to be sexually abused by my godfather. Because I'm still saying in my mind, I'm not having a bowel movement. I'm not accepting. I do not want this enema that you're coming to give me. But anyway, she inserts it, and there I am. And then they put me on the potty, and they wait for the miracle. And of course, the miracle happens. But what did Greta learn from that experience as a 1-year-old? She learned, I have no control over my body. You can do whatever you want. If you're an adult and you're a bigger person than me, I have no control over my body. So then when my godfather, and now I'm 13, when my godfather approaches me and starts molesting me, that trigger comes in my mind. I have no control over my body. And that's when you ask me, how did I create that? That's how I created it.
And then what you expected was for your mother, being your mother, to walk up and bop him in the head and throw him out. That didn't happen.
Absolutely. You know why it didn't happen? Because he and his wife had been with my mother ever since she was a little girl. So she respected them, both of them, and they helped us. They helped us in many ways. So my mother, see the fear, here comes fear.
Fear, yeah.
Was afraid to ripple the waters because she knew that somewhere along the line, she was going to need their help. And if his wife finds out what, it would have caused a lot of confusion within the family. So I sacrificed myself. I was the sacrificial lamb, I was there for his enjoyment. I was there, at my own disdain, and out of fear. Could see when she was pontificating on how great her marriage was, there was a fear there. I did not trust myself to say to her, that's not true, because your husband has been bothering me. You see, that was that fear. I couldn't trust myself. My mother taught me that. I accepted her to teach me that. There you go.
Greta, I do have I have heard the story before, and it's a really good drilling down to the beginning of a loop, in a sense, right? The mental equivalency that you were having as a 1-year-old was not wanting to let go of something.
Absolutely. That's why I said,
what was
I did not want
to let go of?
Well, see, I didn't want to. To me, it was physical. It was a physical letting go. I did not want to let go of my bowels. Now, when you go in and you study psychology, they tell you that that's a very serious moment for a child, because when you're letting go of that the child can feel that that's a part of him or her that is being taken away. So there are a lot of things that can come up at that point in time. And so that's how I viewed it. You're taking a part of me away that I don't want you to take, you see. So, I was following all of that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow.
So
that's amazing that you can even remember that.
Well, I was in a class and they said, well, because see, the offshoot of all of that, we talked about reverberation, how you can grab onto other realities. So from that molestation reality, what else did I grab hold of? I grabbed hold of being raped. Then from that, what did I grab hold of? I grabbed hold of marrying men who were very abusive to me, physically and emotionally abusive to me. So that's how that gravitated. You see, it grew and grew. I had more experiences in molestation and abuse, emotional and psychological. And I had prepared the way for that. And there are a lot of women and men, I'm sure, who have gone through similar challenges that I have also gone through. So the big thing, like you and Kathy said, was I had to learn to love myself. But look how long it took. It took me all the way until my 40s. My 40s, when I was taught about creation of reality. That's what taught me that. Yeah.
Well, you've learned more than me at this stage. With that in mind, we're at that point of the podcast where we're going to take a short break. And when we return, the realm of beings will be with us and give us their take on this quote they provided. Listeners, please stick around. We can't wait to see you again.
As you water
Thank you, listeners, for sticking with us. We're back here at Shifting Impressions on the Transformation Network. We are at that point of the podcast where the realm weighs in about the quote that they have given Greta. Realm, are you with us?
Absolutely. We're right here, Carol. We're right
Always
here.
happy to have you here. Realm, we've been discussing a really on point subject for all of us. It's called Trusting Myself and Others. And the quote you gave is, "It's important to learn to trust yourself. If this is a challenge, then you are probably operating from a stance of fear. Consequently, you can attract the very thing you fear to yourself." Would you like to expound on that, please?
Well, trusting can sometimes be a challenging issue
Mm-hmm.
for humans. It can be that because you can learn so many different things that support you in not trusting. And you can make decisions that later on you feel that those were the quote unquote wrong decisions to make. But see, there is no wrong or right. There is only learning. So there's no need to develop a mistrust of self. Just acknowledge that you have created something to learn. When you focus on the learning of it, then you're going to unfocus on the fact that you made a mistake. And we've already talked about failure, that doesn't even exist. So we suggest that you turn your thoughts to, this was a lesson that I created to learn. Nothing more, nothing less.
It's a great way to think.
Yes, because then you get rid of blame. Look how many things you get rid of. I'm going to say it again. You get rid of blame. You're either blaming yourself or you're blaming somebody else. You don't need to blame anybody. And especially yourself. Because this whole environment, this whole reality that you have decided to be a part of is one of just learning lessons. That's all it is. You don't have to be emotionally attached to the lesson. Because when you get emotionally attached to the lesson, you exacerbate the lesson, especially if it's one that you do not want. So you want to be in peace with yourself and just say, that's an oops. Oops. Haha. It's an oops. It's not an, oh God, look what I created. Oh God, look how I hurt myself. Look what I did. Oh my goodness, I'm a bad person. Some people would even go to, oh, I'm evil. Or you know what else they go to is, the devil made me do it. You see what I'm saying? So
Yes,
there's
yes.
no oops, there's no devil. Some even people have, I've heard as I've ventured with Greta, people saying the universe. But they don't realize that they are the universe.
Right.
And they have created the reality. So the thing is, when you get with these different types of realities that you don't want, chill out. Don't get so carried away. Chill out. So what you feel you married the wrong man? So what you feel that you married the wrong woman? So what if you bought the wrong house and it's falling apart around your ankles? All it is just a lesson that you created to make yourself a stronger person.
That
That's what
reminds
this
me of the
is about,
expression,
being a stronger person. Now, what were you
round,
saying, Carol?
there's an expression that wasn't, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Well, nothing can kill you in the first place.
True.
You know, you decide when you're going to check out of here. You know, because everything is your own personal reality.
Right.
If you at the unconscious level, you already decided when you were going to check out. What you're getting ready to do is decide how you want to do it. You know, so but that's what that, but the living is to recognize it's okay. It's okay if you quote unquote made a mistake. All you have to do is rectify the mistake. Change it. How do you change it? There are a lot of ways we've been talking about with the audience and with you about changing realities you don't want. And one of them is to think you don't want it. That's the first beginning. I don't want this. Now, for those of you who believe in prayer, pray the doggone thing away. Don't keep it. Prayer is energy. If that's what makes you feel comfortable, use it. Just see that your prayers are working. Those of you who believe in creation of reality and know that you are the one totally responsible for the choice, deal with yourselves. And one way of dealing with yourselves is to say, I love me. I love me. If you gave yourself a debilitating disease, don't succumb to it. Overcome it. And one of the ways to overcome it is what we just said. I love me. I love me. I respect me. I appreciate me. It's me time here, folks. It's not he time, she time, other time. It's always a me time in this reality of which you have chosen to exist in. It is a me. So believe in yourselves, love yourselves, cherish yourselves. We can go on and on and on. It's me time, y'all. It's me time. Now, Carol, you were going to say
One
something.
of the things I was going to mention, and I'm sure Kathleen has a similar situation, when we were younger, we were taught that focusing on yourself was not a good thing, that it was egotistical or it was selfish, and that you should put others before yourself. And now we've learned that if you don't love yourself first, you really can't love anyone else. So that's a challenge I know I've dealt with. Kathy, have you had a similar experience with that?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I think it might have been Plato that said, I think, therefore I am.
I am. Yeah.
From my worldview, it's like from my cultural framework, and with our cultural worldview is we think, therefore we are.
Oh, that's
So
good.
I don't know. Now I'm not sure if that was a good thing or a not so good thing, but we weren't. It goes back to what you're saying. Don't think of yourself. We thought of the collective. Am I making sense?
Yes, absolutely.
I was asking the realm, not you.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was
That's all
Renee
right, Carol.
Descartes that
Yeah, look
said
what you
that, by the
did.
way.
You made an oops, Carol. You
I
made it
did. I
oops.
do that a lot.
And did you say you're
Working on it.
sorry?
I am not sorry. It was
She
my
did. She
creation of
said it.
reality.
She said it. She said it.
Absolutely. What did she say, Kathy?
She said she was sorry.
Yep, see that? Kathy told on you, Carol.
You're right.
Oh, I'm enjoying this podcast. This is fun. I should have brought a few jokes with me, but I just didn't. But the point is,
You're doing quite well without the
thank
jokes.
you. Thank you. I'm so glad that you appreciate my quote unquote human, what is it called? Humor.
Human humor.
Humor.
That's an alliteration.
Yeah, isn't it wonderful? Human humor.
I've
But on
been
seriousness of
participating.
it is to we reiterate again that it is not selfish. You've been taught that. You've been taught to
Yes.
sacrifice yourselves. And you've been taught it through your family. You've been taught it through religion.
Definitely.
You see, it's always sacrifice. You've been taught it through when you look at the news in the evening, they will tell you about, oh, this person saved 50 people to his own detriment. He died at the end, but he saved 50 people.
Yeah.
You see, so that has taught us, it's ingrained in this society that if you, and when I say society, I mean global society. You've been taught that in your various religions. You've been taught that in your familial relationships. You've been taught that in your culture. You've been taught that in your epigenetics, that it's better to sacrifice yourself.
Well, I went to Catholic school, and the whole premise behind the Catholicism is that Jesus sacrificed himself for us. And what do they call all the saints that they sacrificed? They call them martyrs. So yes, it was really ingrained into our subconscious, unconscious, but it's still in there and it still has to be worked out. So,
but we want to say, add to that yes, you chose to grow up into Catholicism, but there are others that have chose to grow up into Judaism, Wiccanism, Santerianism, Buddhism. All of those things have something that deals with sacrifice in one way or another.
Right. They're all very similar in the basis.
Right. And I know
that
one
was one of my hobbies.
I know one thing. I look at it from an emotional perspective. If you want to bring me to tears, let me watch a little snippet where someone saves this animal or someone saves these people. Your social life make it kind of feel good. So now I'm wondering, did we create the emotion of like joy and elation when we see someone like sacrifice themselves? I mean, now I'm a little bit confused because they make those movies where the person sacrifices himself and they make you feel all good inside. Not all of them have to deal with death, just deals with overcoming something. Is that like the same thing, or am I off track?
That means, well, let us extend it. You get rewarded for sacrifice. You see, we're not saying don't go out there and help somebody. We're not saying that. We're just saying that pay attention, love yourself. When you love yourself, then you're going to make sure you are helping somebody, not sacrificing yourself for somebody.
Oh,
That's a very key point.
oh, that's,
You
yeah,
see,
that
there's a
is.
fine line between
Yes.
helping and sacrificing yourself. How do you know the
Yes.
difference? When you sacrifice yourself, then you're going to become a victim.
Yeah.
When you're helping somebody, the only thing you're going to get out of it is joy and peace and love and accolades. And thank you so much for helping us. We appreciate all the efforts that you have made, instead of going into sacrifice, saying, I didn't ask you to do that for me. That's your problem. I don't want to hear that anymore from you. Leave me alone. Don't tell me that anymore. That's sacrifice. Because now you have created yourself to be a victim inside that experience.
So is that
But
what
when
soul people?
somebody says, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, you really helped us, then you know you were on the helping side, not on the sacrificial side. So go ahead, Kathy.
I guess what popped into my head when you talked about global stuff is that, like if people are in the service and I hear the news people saying, these people sacrifice themselves so that you could do this and you're supposed to be show appreciation. I mean, in their minds, those soldiers thought they were helping to save someone, but they're still the same thing as sacrifice, right?
No, no. If that person, male or female, created a situation where they have to go in and help people, that is one thing. They're approaching that experience by way of help. Now, what they personally create out of that, if they get maimed or something, that's another issue. But the point is, they went in there to help, not to sacrifice themselves for that, you see. But if they went in there to sacrifice,
Oh God.
then that's a whole nother total ball game. You see, you can be a policeman, a fireman, or just an ordinary person going in to help somebody, but you have let me help you mentality. You don't have the mentality of let me sacrifice myself for your benefit. You see,
Or let me
let me
save
say
you.
this.
Yeah, but some people like police.
Please let me say this. The people who perceive it as being sacrificed, that's with them. That's not with the person who did the actualization. So if somebody is perceiving that somebody sacrificed themselves, then guess what? They are in that sacrifice. They are in that to sacrifice for somebody because they see it. You can only see a person by way of what's in you first. So you can have that you can have the person doing the helping, and you can have the person looking at the helping and perceiving it to be sacrifice. So that is with that situation.
Oh, okay.
You see. So those are two different things. Two different things. Yes.
Wow.
Wow, we really veered around trust, didn't we? We
Well,
went
it's
from
a trust.
to
It's really about trust. It's about trusting yourself. Trusting yourself that you're helping somebody, not trying to save them.
right.
That's what that's
a
about.
great point. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
And in order to trust yourself, you have to love yourself unconditionally. It always comes back to that, right?
Absolutely. It always comes back to that. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I guess I had another
I'm not
question.
sure how much time we have left.
It's
Does
not very
anybody want
much.
to add any? Yeah, does anybody want to add anything? Oh, we have 5 minutes. We actually still have a good amount of time. My bad.
No, I was just
And I'm not saying I'm sorry for it either.
no, I guess I don't know. I've just been tossing around this whole, trusting thing. Like, it's because do you have to love someone to trust them? I don't think so. Uh,
No, the first person that you're going to love is love yourself. When you love yourself, there is a trusting component to that. And that's what that's what will provide you with a trusting environment as you interact with the other person. But when you love yourself, then that means that that person cannot betray that trust. Because remember, it's always create, support, support, create. So if you're loving yourself, you're trusting yourself, then the person who's going to be there with you is going to be trustful. Then you don't have to worry about it. Stay within you. Don't reach outside to say, I've got to trust that person. No. The first person that you must trust is to trust yourself.
that was my question. Can I only trust myself because I know myself? I don't know
There's
if
only you to begin with.
Oh, okay.
There's only you to begin with. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
this whole group of people, because you create your own personal reality. If you don't trust somebody, that's on you. It's not on the person that you don't trust, but the person, I'm telling you, because create, support, support, create, that person will teach you that you don't trust. Because that's where you're at.
I'm just thinking about some people. You just don't. They just don't. Maybe it's just a inner reflection of yourself. You just say, "Oh, I don't think I trust that person." So if I don't trust that person, am I saying I really don't trust myself, or I'm trusting
Absolutely.
myself? Oh, okay.
Absolutely. If you don't
Because I
trust
was,
that person, you do not trust you. And you have called to yourself a person to support you in not trusting yourself.
and it's okay. It's okay to it's okay to say I've learned this lesson. I've attracted this. I don't want this. I'm gonna learn. I'm just gonna trust myself, look inside myself, and just I guess, which brings me to next week, what we're going to talk about on the 22nd. It's okay to be okay, to know how to release any guilt and know that you're not responsible for what other people create, which is, I guess, kind of like what I was asking. Okay, Carol, back
Absolutely.
to you.
So we can
Okay.
save that one for next week.
There you go.
There
Realm,
you
I
go.
do have a joke for you.
Oh, yes,
I've
I
been
like those. Go ahead.
working with I've been working with some children, and every morning the teacher puts a joke yesterday's. But the joke is, what do you call a bear that does not have teeth?
What do you call a bear that does not have teeth? Toothless.
Gummy bear.
Tom doesn't know what a gummy bear is.
Yeah, that's funny, Karen.
Oh, they know.
Gummy bear.
Gummy bear is a type of candy.
I
Called gummy
understand.
bears.
I'm
Okay.
familiar.
Well, my
I
joke.
don't eat gummy bears, but I'm familiar with gummy bears, even though I don't eat them. I'm aware of all your
Well,
dilemmas.
it was a 10-year-old's type of humor, so that's about the level I'm at usually. Anyway, like to thank everyone for being with us this week. Thank you, Greta. Thank you, Kathy. And thank you, Realm. Reminder, everyone, next weekend, Deerfield Beach, Florida, Doubletree. Kathy, Greta, and the Realm of Beings seminar. Be there. It's going to be wonderful. We look forward to seeing everyone next week. In the meantime, stay frosty.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with the Realm and me, Greta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multi-dimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.